morning, church family. Pastor Chris here with you this morning for our Hope for the Week online devotional. It's an honor to be with you wherever you find yourself this morning. I want to open our time by asking a question. You ready? Here we go. How many of us watching this video, whether live Wednesday morning or at some other point during the week, how many of us are feeling tired? I know that for myself, when we transitioned into a time of COVID and entered into this new reality that we find ourselves in, I began to take on a little bit more and do a little bit more. I was now pastor and husband and father, but I was also homeschool teacher, helper, homework wrangler, and wearing many other hats and doing many other things and running really fast and really hard, that all of a sudden I noticed that I was very tired. Is anyone else feeling tired right now in this season? Is anyone else looking for rest? Looking for restoration? Looking for peace in the midst of a chaotic world? This past Sunday, I had the opportunity to bring a message to our 9:30 and Awaken communities where we began to look at the Ten Commandments. And in particular, we looked at the first four that talk about the vertical relationship that we have with God, and that the relationship in the first four commandments all have to do with how you and I love God. And it's the fourth commandment that really stuck out to me this morning, and I want to share the fourth commandment with you. It says this in Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. God tells us in these 10 commandments to remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days you are allowed to labor and do all of your work. However, on the seventh day, it is to be a Sabbath day of rest unto the Lord. For on it you shall not do any work, you or your sons or your daughters, your male bonded servants, your female bonded servants, or your livestock, or the sojourner, the foreigner, who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, and God rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath and made it holy. God establishes for all of the created order this idea of rhythm. That rhythm moves at a certain pace. And that when you and I try to speed up, we get out of rhythm, or when we slow down too much, we get out of rhythm. But yet God has this symphony of music that is playing throughout all of time, from the beginning of creation to the moment we meet Him in glory, this symphony of music that is being played, and God is inviting us to step into the symphony and to find peace as we align ourselves with Him by walking ourselves out in rhythm with God. For many of us, we're tired because we are out of rhythm. For many of us, we are living in chaos because we are out of rhythm. For many of us, we are struggling because we are working ourselves to death. So Jesus tells us later on in the Gospel of Matthew these words. He says in Matthew chapter 11, starting in verse 28, Jesus says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and it will be I that gives you rest." Are we tired and in need of rest? Jesus says that if we come to Him, He will give us rest. And as we find rest in the Lord, we get back into the rhythm of how God created us to live. And as we get back into rhythm, we find peace, we find reconciliation, we find restoration, we find all of these things that help us to live peacefully, restfully in a world that is moving fast and at times chaotic. Jesus says that the key to doing this is by, verse 29, taking his yoke upon ourselves and learning from him. For Jesus says he is gentle and he is lowly in heart, and he will afford to us the opportunity to find rest for our souls, because his yoke is easy and his burden is light. That when we take on Jesus' commands, when we take on Jesus' rules and Jesus' regulations and Jesus' love and compassion for us, that when we take these upon ourselves, they are not heavy laden burdens that weigh us down and cause us to have to do more, work more, try harder, but instead they free us. They bring us peace and restoration, and they help us get back into rhythm with God. So, church family, if you are feeling as though your life is chaotic, as though your life is with no peace, as though your life is out of rhythm, today is the day that we need to make a plan for a Sabbath day of rest. God says in 6 days, do all you can. Achieve all you can. Live for and work for the glory of God. But on the seventh day, rest. Don't be lazy and slothful, but rest. Study the scriptures. Worship your God, sing songs of praise, open the Bible, connect with the community, but find rest for your soul so that you might get back into rhythm with God. Well, church family, I hope these words for you today are words of hope and of peace and lead you towards restoration by having a Sabbath day of rest. We love you, church family. We miss you terribly, and we cannot wait to gather again in person to worship our one true living God. We love you, and we thank you for being with us this morning. Y'all take care, and God bless. Bye, everyone.